These photos weren't taken to be creepy. They were taken by people who had no idea they were capturing their last normal moment, seconds before disappearance, violence, or something nobody could later explain. Nothing looks wrong, and that's exactly why they're disturbing. The tourist photo that became a missing person icon. At first glance, this looks like a typical vacation snapshot. A young woman smiling, relaxed, maybe posing mid-trip. Nothing strange. But this would become one of the most haunting images connected to a disappearance in modern history. The woman is Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old student from Vancouver attending the University of British Columbia. Intelligent, introspective, and passionate about literature, she also struggled with bipolar disorder, something she openly discussed online. In early 2013, she set out on a solo trip through California, documenting her journey on a travel blog. It was supposed to be a reset, a chance to clear her mind. On January 26th, she checked into the infamous Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, a building already steeped in dark history. Over decades, it had been linked to crime, violence, suicides, and long-term residents living on the margins of society. Initially, she shared a room with other guests, but staff moved her to a private room after complaints about unusual behavior. Then, on January 31st, she vanished. No checkout, no goodbye, and certainly no trace. Days later, police released surveillance footage from the hotel elevator, and the internet exploded. In the video, Lam behaves in ways that are deeply unsettling. She presses multiple buttons, but the doors don't close. She steps in and out repeatedly, peeks down the hallway as if someone is there, hides against the wall, gestures strangely, almost like she's talking to someone no one else can see. Was she frightened? Confused? Hiding? No one knew. Then 2 weeks later, hotel guests began complaining about foul-smelling water and low pressure. Maintenance workers checked the rooftop water tanks, massive containers supplying the building's plumbing. Inside one tank, they found her body. She was face down in the water. The roof was locked. Access required keys and would normally trigger alarms. The tank lid was heavy. How she got inside and how it was closed afterward remains debated to this day. The official ruling was accidental drowning linked to her mental health condition. No signs of assault, no drugs, no definitive evidence of foul play. But the unanswered questions keep the mystery alive. That smiling photo now feels chilling, a snapshot of someone enjoying life just days before becoming the center of one of the internet's most disturbing true crime cases. Sometimes the scariest stories aren't violent, they're just unresolved. The honeymoon photo with a body on the ocean floor. This image looks like a dream vacation advertisement, clear blue water, coral reefs, divers exploring a paradise beneath the waves. But there's something in the background, a human figure lying motionless on the seabed. That's Tina Watson. And when this photo was taken, she was already dead. Tina and her husband Gabe Watson had just gotten married and chose Australia's world-famous Great Barrier Reef for their honeymoon, a bucket list destination for divers worldwide. On October 22, 2003, they joined a dive near the historic SS Yongala shipwreck, one of the richest marine ecosystems on Earth. Both were certified divers, though Tina had limited experience and some health issues. Gabe had only recently completed training. Minutes after entering the water, Gabe suddenly surfaced alone, signaling distress. He told the crew his wife was in trouble and sinking. Rescue divers descended immediately. They found Tina lying face down on the ocean floor, completely still. She was brought up, but it was too late.
Both were certified divers, though David had only recently completed basic training, while Tina was still a beginner with a history of poor health. About 2 minutes after entering the water, David suddenly swam to the surface.
The eerie part? Another diver nearby had been taking scenic photographs of marine life, unaware anything was wrong. Later, reviewing the images, investigators noticed a shadowy figure in the background. It was Tina's body, captured unknowingly at the moment of tragedy. What happened down there became the center of an international investigation. Was it panic, equipment failure, a medical emergency, or something far darker? Suspicion fell on Gabe. Questions arose about their relationship, insurance policies, and his actions underwater. He was later convicted in Australia of manslaughter, then served additional time in the United States for related charges, though he has maintained that Tina's death was an accident. To this day, debate continues. But that peaceful underwater photo? It's not a vacation memory. It's a crime scene.
The selfie with death stalking from behind.
Here's a trail in the woods, nature at its calmest. Trees, open path, quiet afternoon light. And behind the group, a black bear. The man who took the photo is Darsh Patel, a 22-year-old college student visiting the Apshawa Preserve with friends in 2014. He loved the outdoors. The trip was supposed to be relaxing, a quick escape into nature. At some point, the group noticed movement behind them. A large wild bear was following at a distance. Instead of retreating carefully, panic set in. Darsh snapped a quick photo, the last image saved on his phone. In it, the bear stares directly toward them, already closing the distance. Then everyone ran. That instinct, run, is exactly what wildlife experts warn against. Predators are triggered by fleeing prey. When the group scattered, they made themselves individual targets. The bear chose Darsh. Witnesses later reported hearing screams that stopped abruptly. Rangers were called, but by the time help arrived, the animal had moved on. Darsh Patel was found dead. Black bears rarely attack humans, but when they do, it's often during sudden encounters or when escape triggers pursuit behavior. Today, that photo circulates online as a stark reminder. Danger doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it's just quietly approaching from behind while you're focused on something else. A peaceful forest scene, hiding a predator already deciding what to do next. The diplomat's speech that ended in gunfire.
This final image looks formal, almost boring. An art exhibition, a man giving remarks, attendees listening politely.
But look closer at the figure behind him. Suit and a tie, neutral expression, and a gun hidden out of sight.
An elderly man in a suit giving a speech at an art exhibition. There's even security behind him, the atmosphere seemingly completely peaceful. But if you look more carefully, you'll notice something disturbing.
The speaker is Andrei Karlov, Russia's ambassador to Turkey, attending a gallery opening in Ankara in December 2016. At the time, relations between Russia and Turkey were tense due to the Syrian civil war, particularly events in Aleppo. Karlov was working to stabilize diplomatic ties, attending public events as part of that effort. Security seemed present. The atmosphere was calm. Standing behind him was a man everyone assumed was part of the protection detail. He wasn't. He was Mevlut Mert Altantash, an off-duty police officer who had used his credentials to enter the venue. Seconds after the photograph was taken, he drew a handgun and fired repeatedly into Karlov's back at point-blank range. Panic erupted and cameras kept rolling. The ambassador collapsed almost instantly. Altantash shouted political slogans referencing Aleppo before being killed by security forces minutes later. Karlov passed shortly afterward. The haunting photograph, the assassin standing calmly behind his target, became one of the most chilling pre-assassination images in modern history. Because everyone in the room saw the same thing, a security officer. No one realized death was already positioned directly behind the speaker. The smiling millionaire who was already disintegrating. Look at this photograph. A well-dressed gentleman, relaxed posture, polite smile, the picture of success. You'd never guess his body was literally destroying itself from the inside. The man is Eben Byers, born into enormous wealth in Pennsylvania at the dawn of the Gilded Age. His father built a steel empire, so Byers grew up surrounded by privilege, elite education, and connections most people could only dream of. He attended Yale University, excelled socially, and became one of America's top amateur golfers, even winning the U.S. Amateur Championship in 1906. On paper, he was the perfect early 20th century gentleman, rich, athletic, charming, influential. Then one small accident changed everything. During a train journey in 1927, Byers injured his arm. It became a nagging pain that wouldn't go away. His doctor recommended a fashionable new miracle tonic called Radithor. Yes, radioactive water. At the time, radiation was the hot new scientific discovery. People believed it was invigorating, life-enhancing, almost magical. Radithor was literally bottled water infused with radium, marketed as a cure-all for fatigue, pain, and low vitality. And it seemed to work at first. Byers felt energized, stronger, healthier. He told friends about it. He became a walking advertisement. But he didn't just sip it occasionally. He drank 3 bottles a day after day, year after year. By the time doctors realized something was wrong, he had consumed over 1,000 bottles of radioactive liquid. Then the symptoms began. Headaches, chronic pain, fatigue worse than before. His teeth started falling out, not loosening, falling. Then his jawbone began to decay. Surgeons later described the bone as soft, crumbling, almost dissolving. Holes formed in his skull. Infection spread through tissue that could no longer heal because radiation had destroyed the living cells. Eventually, parts of his face literally detached. The photograph you're looking at was taken during this horrific decline. That calm smile hides unimaginable suffering. A man slowly poisoning himself with something sold as health water. Byers died in 1932 at just 51 years old. Even after death, the danger didn't stop. His body remained radioactive, so he was buried in a lead-lined coffin to contain the radiation. The scandal triggered action from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, which launched investigations into radioactive consumer products. Radithor was banned, and the case became a turning point in medical regulation. So that pleasant portrait? It isn't a success story. It's a warning that progress without caution can kill, slowly and invisibly. None of these images show monsters. No ghosts. No obvious violence. What makes them terrifying is hindsight. We know what happened next. A smiling millionaire whose bones were dissolving. A traveler about to vanish into mystery. A honeymooner already lifeless beneath the sea. A hiker seconds from being hunted. A diplomat unaware the man behind him would pull the trigger. They remind us of something deeply uncomfortable. Life can change or end between one frame and the next. Photos freeze moments, but they can't capture context, danger, or fate. Sometimes the camera records the calm just before the storm, and only later do we realize we were looking at the exact second everything was about to go wrong. If this video gave you chills, don't watch alone next time. Share it with someone who loves dark mysteries as much as you do, and next time you scroll past an old photograph, smiling faces, peaceful scenes, ordinary moments, remember that some of history's most disturbing images don't look disturbing at all until you learn the story behind them. Subscribe for more hidden histories, unsolved mysteries, and stories stranger than fiction. And tell me in the comments, which photo disturbed you the most?